Dear viewers, welcome back to our channel. In the process of the Chinese Navy's rise, from weakness to strength, it has gone through 20 years of struggle and exploration. In the past, the Chinese Navy could only sigh over the oceans, relying on imports. But now, it stands out on the world stage. However, behind this feat, what are the mysteries and challenges? We cannot help but wonder what factors have propelled the rapid rise of the Chinese Navy. Facing technological blockades and international pressure, how did China break through difficulties and independently develop world-class warships? Most importantly, what profound impact does the rise of the Chinese Navy have on the global landscape? In comparison with the US Navy, what challenges and shortcomings does China still face? In the competition in the naval domain, how will China continue to innovate and progress? At the same time, will concerns about China's military development and geopolitics intensify with the rise of the Chinese Navy? In the span of 20 years, from a weak navy relying entirely on medium and large-sized imported vessels, China has developed into the world's second navy. How did China achieve this feat in just over 20 years? The Navy is the fastest-growing branch of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, with foreign media even calling China's Navy the second largest in the world overnight. Although this claim may be exaggerated, it cannot be denied that the Chinese Navy currently possesses the strength of the second-largest navy in the world. 20 years ago, China's Navy couldn't even compete for the second place in Asia. Back then, the Japanese Navy was firmly ahead of China, and China envied Japan's naval vessels, not to mention Russia, the successor to the Soviet Union's legacy. Even though the Soviet Union collapsed, the Russian Navy's strength could still completely overwhelm China. In comparison, the Chinese Navy seemed rather impoverished. Firstly, there were no noteworthy large vessels, and secondly, naval tactics remained in the era of the previous century. At that time, China's main warships were primarily small, fast, and agile, giving the impression of being geared towards maritime guerrilla warfare. In reality, this was because we lacked the capability to produce large warships. Did we not desire to possess behemoths like aircraft carriers? We certainly did, but Western countries wouldn't allow us to acquire the technology to build large vessels. Therefore, we had to continuously explore the experiences and ideas provided by the advanced warships imported from abroad, which helped China embark on a path of independent research and development. Today, the warships we export are among the top tier globally. How did the Chinese Navy step by step become powerful? How did it transition from weakness to strength? Once impoverished, China's Navy now produces the equivalent of half of France's peak navy in a year. China can construct a navy fleet ranked third globally within a year. There's no doubt about the number and combat capabilities of the Chinese Navy, securing its position as the second largest in the world. The gap between China and the third-ranked Russia is continually widening, while the naval power of the top-ranked United States is shrinking. There are no shortcuts in naval development, and the United States won't provide China with any opportunities for development. We must rely on ourselves. In 2004, China began retrofitting the Type 052 destroyers to equip them with comprehensive capabilities for strike, anti-submarine, and air defense. After the retrofitting of the first aircraft carrier, Liaoning, work immediately began on the development of the second carrier, Shandong. Through the retrofitting process of Liaoning, we gained a wealth of experience in aircraft carrier construction. Shortly afterward, the second carrier, Shandong, was completed. This was also China's first domestically developed and constructed carrier. And that's not all. The third carrier, Fujian, recently entered service. Fujian features China's first use of electromagnetic catapult technology, a technology mastered only by China and the United States worldwide. In the destroyer domain, our Type 055 10,000-ton guided missile destroyers have already entered service, with 8 of them commissioned. The second wave of shipbuilding frenzy has begun. Simultaneously, our Type 054B frigates have been completed, forming the backbone of the Chinese Navy's fleet. What is the gap between the Chinese and American navies? China currently has 3 aircraft carriers, 50 destroyers, and 120 frigates, firmly ranking second in the world. However, there is still a certain gap between China and the US Navy. Firstly, in terms of the number of large vessels, the US far exceeds the Chinese Navy, with 11 aircraft carrier strike groups. Although most are undergoing maintenance in docks, this represents undeniable combat capability. In contrast, China only has 3 carriers. Fortunately, China's shipbuilding speed is faster than that of the United States, and the gap in numbers is believed to be closing in the near future. Secondly, all of America's aircraft carriers are nuclear-powered, while China remains in the conventional-powered aircraft carrier realm. Although Fujian is at the forefront in the realm of conventional-powered aircraft carriers, there is still a considerable gap in long-distance ocean cruising capabilities compared to nuclear-powered carriers. Currently, China has mastered the technology of nuclear reactors on ships, applied mainly in submarines. Many netizens speculate that China's 4th aircraft carrier is likely to be nuclear-powered. Once the technology for building nuclear-powered aircraft carriers is mastered, the gap in numbers will be closed over time. In the frigate and destroyer domain, China is even leading the United States. After the successful development of our Type 055 destroyers, they were immediately hailed as the world's first Aegis-equipped ships. Even the latest destroyer development plans depicted in the US blueprints imitate China's Type 055 guided missile destroyer. The overall performance of the Type 054B frigates is also superior to that of the United States. The Chinese Navy is now striving to become the world's number 1. Finally, let me summarize today's video. I hope it has provided you with some inspiration and value. In discussing the rise of the Chinese Navy, we cannot overlook the geopolitical influence and concerns about China's military buildup. While the development of the Chinese Navy has brought security and glory to the country, we must act cautiously to avoid escalating regional tensions. Geopolitical factors not only affect the stability of international relations but may also lead to a vicious cycle of arms races. Therefore, we should strive for cooperation and dialogue to address existing differences and contradictions. At the same time, we must be vigilant about the negative impacts of China's military buildup. Arms races not only exacerbate regional tensions but may also lead to military conflicts, bringing unnecessary disasters to the people. We need more openness and transparency to build a foundation of trust and cooperation. Only through peace and cooperation can we jointly address regional and global challenges, and achieve common development and prosperity. Finally, I would like to ask, how can we prevent the deterioration of arms races while safeguarding national security? How can we promote regional cooperation and jointly build a peaceful and stable international environment? Let us think and work together to contribute our wisdom and strength to a more peaceful and prosperous world. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today's video. See you next time with more exciting content. Bye bye. Bye bye.